Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I am Julia, and together with a couple of my colleagues today, who I am going to introduce a little bit later in the presentation, we are going to discover the European double degree in sustainable food systems taught in France and Italy. So I would say, before starting, a couple of logistical details. You can write your questions on the Q&A button at the bottom of our screen. Do not write it in the chat, but if you want to in the chat, you can tell us where we are following from. So where are you from? Where are you hearing us from? That is always very nice to know. So thank you very much. And I would say I am starting the webinar today together with Federica. And then I have the pleasure to moderate the webinar with so many other co-hosts, Professor Lucini from Università Cattolica, Vincent Bragnol, Director of International Development in ISARA. And then I also have the honor to have Professor Nimi from ISARA and Natalie from International Admissions in ISARA as well. So what are we going to do today? We're going to go over what a European double degree is and why we should study in Cremona and Cattolica. And then we will hear Vincent explain why you should study in Lyon and why choosing ISARA is a good idea. And then we're going to have a little interview with Professor Lucini and Professor Gnimi. We're also going to briefly go over the admissions procedures since we have Natalie with us. And then we are going to have a little bit of a Q&A session if you have any questions. So put it there in the box. We're going to answer at the end of the webinar. So let's start from what the European double degree is. It's actually pretty simple. It's a double degree where you can get 2 degrees. That's the term double. And it's gonna be taught in two different schools, which are Università Cattolica for the first and second semester, and ISARA with the third and fourth semester. So it's going to be one entire year at Cattolica in Cremona and one entire year at Lyon in ISARA. Okay, so very easy. It's a European double degree. You are in Europe, 2 different countries, and you get at the end of this, I think, very interesting journey, you get a double degree from both of universities. Okay. So I think when it comes to this particular degree, it is very important for us to underline why studying this subject in this particular location is crucial. And I'm going to go over, well, of course, my country, because I think I am the expert together with Professor Lucini. And then we're also going to hear about why Lyon and France are ideal locations. But what you can already know from my side is that both of these locations, both Cremona and Lyon, have something very interesting and very passionate in common, which is food. Food and processing food. Both of the countries, in particular Italy and France, have a very long tradition of food processing, food systems, food growing, actually. So, and particularly for Cremona and Lyon, they are the hubs in Italy and France where we produce, grow, and process most of our food. So I think the very interesting part about this particular program is that it combines both the traditions of both the countries. And plus, of course, Università Cattolica and Isarà. We're gonna discover a little bit more about both of them later, but they are excellent in research and in teaching this particular subject. So why Italy? I have already said that, but I'm gonna repeat myself because my country is beautiful. Vansan is gonna be yours is more beautiful, but we know. Well, we have a lot of landscapes, so we have a lot of things that we really do well. With not only food and not only cooking food actually, but also producing it. But also we're very good at producing a lot of stuff. From cars to yachts. So it's a country where manufacturing is really important in our economy. In particular, manufacturing plays a crucial role, you may know. And also, I think the welfare state and the healthcare system in Italy are really, really good. And this is shown by data and statistics, which support this affirmation. So these, I think, are the four main reasons to come study in Italy: the culture, the food, the way we do things, and the way we live. Also, I have to say it's worth mentioning that Università Cattolica has different campuses in different places, following a local strategy, and we're going to go over it a little bit later. So this is, I think, why you should study in Italy, and in particular, why you should study in Cremona. As I said, Cremona is in the heart of the Italian food valley, which I have to say, it is not a real valley, it's a plain, but we call it Food Valley, with 53,000 agricultural businesses, which are based here in Cremona. We, as Università Cattolica, have a new campus, and I think it's a beautiful campus, actually, one of the most beautiful we have. We know, and you should know, that Università Cattolica is a very big university, but Cremona is a smaller campus. So I think even living in Cremona and living Università Cattolica in Cremona makes it a really nice experience, even though our campuses and our university has so many students from everywhere in the world. So I think Cremona's experience of living in Università Cattolica's life is really peculiar and very nice. Also, the Faculty of Agricultural, Food and Environmental Sciences, which is hosted in Cattolica Cremona and Cattolica Piacenza, both of them, which are very close, is ranked top 150 globally according to the QS World University Rankings by subject. Also worth mentioning, I think, that Cremona is a very beautiful city with a lot of culture, particularly if you're a music lover. I think it is one of the most beautiful places to be. Also, if you love food, that is absolutely where you need to be, because most of the food we produce and well, also grow and process is comes from here or is brought here in Cremona to be processed and then transferred to the other firms, to the other countries that might need it in Italy. So why Cattolica as a whole? As I just mentioned, we are private, so we have a lower student to teacher ratio overall in all our campuses than other public universities in Italy. But also this being private means we have higher funding. So that means that we can do better research. And that, of course, affects our academic excellence, our academic quality, which is the second point that I wanted to touch. We have a strong academic profile with a career-oriented education. And I think one thing that makes Cattolica unique in terms of academic excellence is that we have 12 different schools, which really range from agriculture to economics through medicine. So we can do so many, we can mix up so many of these schools to make these programs that we teach at our Università Cattolica very peculiar, very up to date with a mix of different subject fields that maybe in other more specialized universities it is not really as easy to do. As I said, the local campus strategy, I think, is one thing that we really do well and that we are most proud of. So our campuses are built for integration with the faculties and the communities. As I said, it makes no sense for us to teach agriculture in Milan because there is not really much growing fields of food in Milan. There are a lot of growing fields in Cremona or in Piacenza, so that's why we teach agriculture there. But also we host so many international students, so we want to stay connected to the local identity. Okay, so I think it's a mix that really makes it unique. And then the student experience, our students are really satisfied overall with the way that they are welcome. They feel a strong recognition of individuals also because there is plenty of space for individuals to come out and to choose the path that they want to take. We have a student support service, we have student associations, and also we have many opportunities to go abroad. And this double degree, I think, is the perfect example of how you can make your profile so international by just joining Cattolica and Isera at the same time. So, Professor Lucini, do you want to tell us more about our faculty? Because you're the expert here.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. One important point that I would like to stress out here is that the faculty strongly believes that a good quality of research can be easily connected to a good quality of teaching. And for that reason, starting from the recruitment, we are searching for people that are top scientists in their respective area. This is reflected in the world best, most influent researchers. That is a Stanford ranking that is provided every year. And that includes the top 2% in the world. And 1/5 of the faculty has been included in that area, including people from different research areas like food science, like food chemistry, like technology, like viticulture, animal science, and so on, microbiology. So here the people that are in this slide represent the different soul of the faculty in terms of research.
Thank you very much, Professor. Yes, it's very diverse as well. So after saying all of these beautiful things about my country, it is time to present you the other country involved in this beautiful double degree, which is France. And who can say it better than our Vincent? So I'll leave the word to you, Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon for you. So why study in France? Well, there are many reasons to study in France. I will give only three here. So first, the higher education system is very well known in the world and is considered by the Shanghai ranking as number 3 globally. So you have the certainty to make good studies when you study in France. The food industry is the first employer in France. It's more than 15,000 companies working in this area in France, and it represents a global market of 200 billion euros, which is huge. And so it's also the certainty when you study food science in France to be really connected to the market and to the professional world. And this is what we do at ISARA. So it's another reason. And of course, another reason is the culture. And when you come study in France, just like in Italy, you have access to a very strong culture, to monuments, to protected sites, to the heart of the European culture. And so we think it's very interesting for international students to come and study in France for these reasons and many others. And we will be very happy to welcome you and to foster your student experience as international students in France. Why Lyon specifically? So our double degree for the French part is located in the city of Lyon, which is the third city of France in terms of number of people. It's always ranked in the top 5 best cities to study in France. And it's very interesting. So as you can see in the picture, we have a very beautiful landscape with 2 rivers crossing in the city. It's a historical city, so a very strong history and culture. We are very close to the mountains, where you can go skiing in the winter, for instance. We have a soccer team, which is very important in the culture as well. We have very nice museums and very nice festivals, such as you can see in the 2 pictures below. And in the picture in the middle, you can see a representation of Paul Bocuse, who is a very famous French chef. And so gastronomy and the food culture is very, very important in the city of Lyon. And so it makes the link also, of course, with our program. So ISARA is a human-sized school. We are a small university, about 1,200 students. And we, throughout the years, made out 3 domains of excellence. One is sustainable food systems, which is the object of this summer school, this program, this double degree, this master degree. Another domain is agroecology, more in the agricultural part, and innovation and entrepreneurship as a transversal domain. We are close to the city center. We can guarantee accommodation for international students for 1 year when you come study at ISARA. And we have some funding available for scholarships, which we will detail after. And what is very interesting in this double degree is that we are very complementary to Università Cattolica. At ISARA, we have a very practical approach, and you can see the picture of our technological hall here. And so you can practice here at ISARA. We have field trips, we have field visits, and so this is very interesting. Yes, and you can see on the picture, it's our documentation center where students also can study when they are here at ISARA.
Thank you very much, Vincent. And I think it's time for us to hear from the professors a bit. So we're going to be presenting again Professor Lucini, and then we're going to introduce Professor Gnimi. Both are academics at Università Cattolica and ISARA. And I think we can start with Professor Lucini, talking about what happens in the first year in Cremona. So what do you study and what do you do all the time?
Okay, thank you. Here in this slide, you can see the main domain of teaching. Of course, instead of providing a detailed list that can be seen in the site, I would like to have an overview of what we are teaching. Food science is pretty multidisciplinary, and actually, as you can see, in this first year, you will have chance to experience the pillars of food science, so microbiology in terms of fermentation and food safety, the chemical part of food, so the physical chemical aspects and the biochemical aspects, the reaction during transformation, the evolution of flavors, whatever, and then the technological part for the technologies of transformation of preservation for the plants. And this is a pretty, I could say, the basis for all the food sciences. But together with that, we have also some interesting and request by the market parts that are the environmental impact and sustainability issues that are related to food production, how to manage data, so how to process information and use artificial intelligence for data processing, how to ensure the quality of our food, so quality assurance and certification schemes, and finally, how to manage also the economic sustainability. This is also very important together with the environmental sustainability. Those are the area that an advisory committee coming from different people from industries, national and global industries, have suggested as competencies that are requested by the market. The idea is that those skills are enabling to design food, so innovate in food science, to apply the one quality concept. So from the production to the consumer, managing all the different aspects of quality, safety and sensory quality, whatever, and finally managing the processes. So having the ability to overview food transformation processes, including transformation, digitalization, and the supply chain.
Okay. Professor Lucchini, what do you think sets the degree apart from other programs in sustainable food systems? So what sets it apart?
Means having those competencies that are able to have a broad overview of food production and food design and food innovation. This broad overview includes so many aspects like those that are listed here. And the broader the perspective, the higher the ability to respond to a market that is changing fast. And new competencies are requested now by food industry that maybe 10, 15 years ago were not so important, now are pivotal.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Could you tell us more about how the teaching system works?
Okay, it's a master degree. We have a strong connection with the industries. We had in designing the degree together with ISERA, of course, but we also asked for a novel way, for a more updated way of teaching that includes, together with classical lectures in which the teacher comes to the class and provides some basic knowledge that is still very important, but at the same time, together with that, it's also important to have teamwork activities, because this is the way professionals work in the industry, to have some seminars on specific topics by people coming from industries, to have some focuses on challenges. So let the student to critically analyze problems and provide some options and solutions. And class presentation by students to acquire also those smart competencies that are still important in a professional. Overall, this means a multidisciplinary and active approach, not only in the content, but also in the different inputs the students can have during the classes.
Okay, thank you very much. So you are talking about how the global food system is under pressure, due to climate change, resource scarcity, the need for a more sustainable production overall. So you say this double degree tackles these challenges. How do you think it does it?
I think given the multidisciplinarity we try to include here, it can respond to the challenges we will have in the future that probably are still unknown now. So when I say a multidisciplinary approach, I mean some basis, because you need to critically analyze, not just to know. You need to innovate and change. A very simple example of that is after the war in Ukraine, some raw materials were not available, and several industries were collaborating with us to change their recipes in order to keep texture, to keep taste, to keep the quality of their products. This is a very simple example about how dynamic, how interactive the food system should be with the global market perspective.
Yeah, I guess also substituting for, raw materials that are going to be drastically more expensive to get because of climate change. And, your point is absolutely valid in the example that you just made. I'm just a thinker, so I think about, how all the different ways you can tackle climate change economically, because I'm an economics major myself. So, but also in agriculture, I think it is going to be very crucial. Thank you very much. can I ask Professor Gnimi actually to come in and talk about the third and fourth semester that we're going to see at ISARA?
Thank you, Julia. Good afternoon, everyone. We move now to the second year, which takes place at ISARA in Lyon. That's the third semester. It's based on applied and project-based learning, where students will focus on sustainability in the food industry. And as you can see here, we have three main models, including 6 weeks of full-time project work with food companies. As you can see below, some of the company logos that students have worked with. It could be multinational big companies, but also it could be small or even a startup. Students will have also lectures on sustainable food processing and packaging with practical labs in the food pilot plant. We have also in the third semester a lot of case studies on corporate social responsibility, life cycle assessment, and how do we combine it with techno-economical analysis. Here we have a guest professor from Iowa State University that will give a full dedicated week to this topic. We have also some topics related to leadership and sustainability. To be actor on sustainability, also you need some management tools. So we have some topics related to the lean management, problem solving, etc., etc. I have also to say that more than 50% of the lecturers are from food industry or senior consultants from food industry or project manager in food industry. So it's really an applied semester and also a lot of projects and team-based learning will be applied during this semester. Moving now to the fourth semester, it's dedicated to the master thesis. It's a 6-month full-time internship. It could be in a research center, in a food company, or even a consulting agency. It could be anywhere in the world. There's no exception. It could be in Europe, Latin America. It could be even in Asia. Also, I have also to say that internships are mandatory paid at an average of 1,200 euros in food companies and a minimum of 650 euros at university research centers. During the master thesis, students have to develop a research proposal, which is almost 10 pages after 2 months of the beginning of the internships. And by the end of the internship, you have to deliver a written report and an oral defense in front of the supervision committee. Here you have some examples of research universities in Europe. It could be, for example, here in Germany, at German Institute of Food Technology. It could be also some students went to US in San Diego University, for example, or Iowa State. They could also conduct their internship in Italy if they want. We have big companies like Danone, for example, Lactalis or Mondial, which is medium size, but also some small companies like GoNuts, they are startups, etc., etc. So the master thesis is a real, let's say, that's the application of your learning experience during the 3 semesters in a real world, and then you have to solve some sustainability challenges, let's say, in food industry.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. So a little question. So we were talking about the evolution of sustainability policies, how they're really changing fast, and the food system innovations that are really changing fast as well. So how do you ensure that the curriculum of this course stays aligned with the industry trends and also with the EU priorities, which are so different from, I'd say, right now, given the current situation, the US or China?
Thank you for the question. To ensure the curriculum stays aligned with industry trends and EU priorities, we use several strategic approaches. As my colleague Luigi said, first of all, we have an advisory committee dedicated to the program in Italy, but also in France. They advise us on the topics to be covered. In this committee, we have several international companies, but also we are planning to include international organizations, and we have planned annual meetings for this advisory committee. Then we have also active collaboration with food industry. For example, as I said, more than 50% of the lecturers are senior consultants or industrial project managers. They bring direct insights from the current industry practices. The curriculum also integrates current EU sustainability goals through courses on environmental impact and sustainability, LCA, for example, life cycle assessment, sustainable food processing and packaging. We have entrepreneurship and sustainable development. We focus also on EU policy pillars like circular economy, resource efficiency, how do we make the decarbonization within the food industry, et cetera, et cetera. So we have, let's say, those different approaches to cover and to be aware about the trends at EU level.
Thank you very much. So I'm gonna like to talk on this because I think it's interesting for our students to know where students come from and what they end up doing later on, and absolutely expect some questions at the end.
Yes, for the let's say the general environment of the master program, it's a multicultural environment, so you will be in touch with at least 12 or 13 nationalities around the world. As you can see here on the left, they are coming from Africa, but also from Europe, Asia, and Latin America. When they are graduated, they are mainly working in food production, quality, etc., etc. But some of them also, they can work on research and development. Some of them, they can work also on supply chain. And in general, we have at around 90%, let's say, of the students, they find jobs 6 months after their graduation, which is an excellent rate, let's say.
It absolutely is. And do you think, Professor Grimi, that the collaboration between Università Cattolica and ISARA actually enhances the possibilities, the probabilities to have better jobs or, very up-to-date curriculums that are really,
Yeah, for sure. Yes, from a learning perspective, first of all, I will, let's say, talk about the learning perspective. Students will benefit, let's say, from the expertise of two prestigious institutions, each with its own specialization. Cattolica brings strength in areas such as food safety, biochemistry, environmental sustainability, and ISARA will complement this with advanced knowledge in sustainable food operations, entrepreneurship, and innovative food processing techniques. This dual approach will allow students to build a well-rounded skill set, which combines scientific, technical, but also managerial competencies. And that's what exactly today's food industry are looking for. And that's what we are hearing also from our partners from the food industry. Then studying in two different countries means students will experience two unique food cultures, Italian and French food culture, which are very rich. They will also face two regulatory environments, two industry ecosystems. This multicultural exposure will help them to adapt to diverse professional contexts, which is also an attractive quality for employers working on international markets if they want to go for the international market. Regarding the career opportunities, there is strong connection with industry, I think in Italy, but also in France. We have also a strong connection beyond, let's say, France and Italy. Students will work on real industry projects. They will collaborate with food companies. They will complete internship in leading business research centers or consultancies. Many of these experiences in general directly open doors to job opportunities post-graduation. To summarize, this collaboration is not just about earning 2 degrees, but it's also about gaining 2 professional experience, 2 industrial networks, and a rich international foundation to launch a successful career in sustainable food systems.
Okay, thank you very much. One last question for you, Professor Ghimi, because we heard Professor Lucchini talk about the fact that Ukraine and its war really affected the industry, so that one of the problems that Università Cattolica solved in particular was how to tackle the scarcity of resources, no? So can you share an example, just like Professor Lucchini did, on how students can apply their learning to real-world food system challenges?
I will share, let's say, one experience at IRSARA. In general, our students, they will work on 6 weeks full-time during the 3rd semester to apply their learning in real world through projects with partner food companies. So food companies, they come with a challenge related to sustainability. For example, how do we improve the sustainability of their packaging to move, for example, from plastic, let's say, packaging to more sustainable? It could be recyclable or even biodegradable. How do they, another project could be also how do they measure their carbon footprint? How do they optimize their supply chain? Because now with crisis everywhere, the supply chain also is complex. And how do they improve, let's say, the sustainability of those supply chains? Another project could be also how do they optimize, how do they develop a nutritious and tasteful and tasty, let's say, food product, but in parallel, sustainable product in terms of resources, in terms of, let's say, carbon footprint. We are working on with food companies. They are big, but also with startups. And those, let's say, projects will link the learning to the real world challenges. It will also reflect the latest innovation and sustainability strategies in the food companies. Another also aspect to apply their learning is the field trips and visit to food companies. And finally, the internships, the 6 months also full, let's say, time internship across research centers, food company, consultancies. They provide continuous feedback loops for also applying those learning skills in real world challenges.
Thank you very much. So we can move to Natalie, actually. So if you could explain a little bit about how the application procedure works, scholarships, when do they open, when do they close, how do you ensure you're eligible to take this particular course, and the scholarships as well, please.
Yes, so applications are to be done online. The deadline for this year is April 6th, so you still have time to apply. To be eligible, you need to have a bachelor degree in food science and technology or nutrition. For people with a bachelor in biotechnology, biological science, agricultural science, or such, you're also welcome to apply. In case of admission, you may though be assigned integrative readings on microbiology and food technology. For people from other fields, and there are a lot of different backgrounds, you have to make sure you have at least 60 credits in food science and technology. Of course, the whole master is done in English, so you need to prove that you have at least a B2 level in English. For the application, the documents we require are very simple. Usually it's a CV, your bachelor degree, your transcripts, detailed transcript is important, your English level certificate, a motivation letter, and if you have recommendation, it's always a plus. The fee for this master is 9,050 euro a year. There is good news though. We have a few scholarships. There is the international scholarship. It's merit based, and it could reduce your the tuition fee to 6,400 euro a year. Of course, the number of scholarship is limited, so don't wait to apply. We also help you to, if you need a visa, to get your visa, you will first have to start to ask your visa at your local Italian embassy, so in your country. We help you in finding accommodation, in settling into Italy or France later on. We're here to guide you through the whole preparation of your you coming to Italy and then France. And there are extra bonuses for the fourth semester. Actually, as mentioned, in France, if you do an internship, it has to be paid. So that's a good news. And if you choose to do your internship in Europe, in EU country outside France, then we could also ask for Erasmus Plus scholarship to help you to move around. That's the basic guidelines.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Professor Lucchini, I have a question actually regarding to the background. So what qualities, what background makes a candidate the ideal student for this kind of master's degree?
Yes, consider that across the world, there are of course, some differences when we say food science. So the general umbrella is food science. Then under this area, you can have pretty different profiles, somebody more close to nutrition, some other close to biotechnology, some other close to technology. The master has been designed in order to accommodate the different backgrounds. I think this is very important in a master degree, in an international master degree, where you have admissions from the world and therefore different backgrounds. So I would say that there is not some specific limitations, because the teachers used to have a tiered approach. So they have some basis. They can accelerate on this basis if students can follow. Therefore, whatever, I try to generalize, whatever can be included in food science, I think is suitable for us. And the students, the feedback we got from the students in their interview after graduation and so on, is that even they have different background, they could tackle all the different challenges they met during the master.
Thank you very much. I also have a question for Professor Gnimi. If you had to summarize in one sentence why students should choose this particular master's degree, what should it be?
Yeah, students in one sentence, students should choose this program to gain cutting-edge expertise in sustainable food systems through a unique international industry-connected program supported by international academic excellence and the strong industry collaboration that will prepare you to lead the future of food. That's to summarize.
Thank you very much. So I think we are actually done. So if you are ready to apply, you can scan the QR code here and you can go directly to the application website. But I think we have a little plus that Vincent wanted to talk about.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just enjoying the opportunity to also talk to you about our summer school that we organize at ISARA, which is called Food Heritage. It will be organized from 7th to 18th of July this year. And the objective is to make you discover the French and European agriculture and food systems from tradition to innovation. And so you will have courses in the class and many field trips. And so you're welcome to apply to ISARA to check our website or to contact us. And we will be happy to give you more answers and to answers to your questions about also this summer school. So here we are more talking about our program of master's degree, sustainable food systems, but I wanted also to talk to you about this other opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So if you have any questions, anything that is not clear to you, you can absolutely check the website. It's www.susfoods.eu. You can email susfood@isara.fr and you can phone the number that you see here. You are also welcome to write to us, Ana Cattolica, as well, because we also have some answers. And I think we are done with the webinar itself. I think there is a question. So, Federica, do you want to tell me if there's any questions that we have received?
Yeah, sure, Julia. So we actually received some questions. The first one is actually about applications. So are applications already open? And which website should students use to apply? Is it the Cattolica or is it a website? Maybe this is not clear to some of them.
Yeah, and I get it because sometimes it gets really confusing with double degrees. So the application portal, you can find it on the ISARA website. It's the one that we just advertised on the slide that you saw before. So it's susfood.eu. And there's an application portal there. So the application is actually evaluated by our international admissions at ISARA. So we don't see the applications at Cattolica. It's the ISARA office who takes care of reading and going through the application itself.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Actually, another student is asking, what is the next intake? Is there only one intake or multiple intakes for this program?
Yeah, absolutely. No, there is one intake in September 2025. The next one is going to be September 2026. So there's no spring intake. If that was the question, we'll have just one intake per year.
Okay, thank you. I have actually another question, maybe for Natalie. Basically, a student with a food engineering degree is able to apply, and if the bachelor degree is fully taught in English, is the English language certificate needed in this case?
For the background, maybe the professor can answer. Usually, depending on your country, depends. I mean, for the English test, it really depends on your country of origin.
Yes, however, from my side, concerning the background is sure in line because
Yes.
it's what the concept I was mentioning before. So it's food engineering, food science, food technology. They are different shade of the same concept, I think.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We also have actually another question about accommodation. We mentioned it actually before, but like students would like to know more about how to find accommodation in Cremona and Lyon. Is there maybe any support for them to find housing solutions?
I can talk for Lyon, where we indeed provide, we can book for you an accommodation in a student residency. So there are several types of occasions. So when you arrive in Lyon, yes, we have a room for you.
We also at Cattolica, we have Educat, which is our entity. I call it like that because I think it's an entity itself. It's not, we have this particular service and they take care of everything related to student life from accommodation to cafeterias. And we do have some accommodation available through Educat. So you can absolutely check the website of Educat to see if they have any accommodations. You have to apply for it, of course. And unfortunately, I don't think there's a lot of it. Well, at least not enough to cover all of their demand for accommodation because it's a really tough period for accommodation in particular in Europe, I think, and the European universities have this issue, and it's not only us, fortunately and unfortunately. But yes, you can absolutely go check the website and see. Educat
There,
is the answer.
if I may add, there is
Yep.
also support from the international office, right? Because sometimes when you try to find a private solution like an apartment to be rent, having an intermediate person that can support you is very helpful. So this is a solution that has been broadly used in past and was working pretty well because you can find when you have some support, local support, you can find accommodations convenient prices compared to the average, and you can trust because that intermediate can also check for that.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I want to tell you guys is that compared to the main cities where students actually go to in Italy in particular, so the most, I would say, student cities, student-centered cities are Milan, Rome, Bologna. But those three cities they have a huge problem with accommodation, and they are very expensive. Cremona, on the other hand, it's a little less expensive. It has a little bit less problems with accommodation, even though, of course, you have to take into account for the fact that it is a smaller city, so there's not like thousands of apartments, but it's easier to find a convenient price for an apartment than it is in Milan or Rome, for instance.
And the university is in the center. It's a city university, not like an external campus. So maybe 5-10 minutes walk, you can get an apartment that is also in the center of the city. So you can still have a social life and easily reaching the university. So it's a very easy to live, I think, as an approach.
Okay, thank you very much, professors. We have another question actually regarding the entry requirements. So basically, a student is asking if there's like a minimum GPA required to apply to this program.
Maybe Professor Gnimi could answer?
Yeah, there's no minimum GPA. So
Okay. You have
simple.
your answers. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have another one about what students can do about after degree, if they're like allowed to stay like in the country to work. Maybe Giulia can answer for Italy, and
Yeah.
Vincent and Natalie regarding like options to stay in France after this degree.
I can absolutely answer for Italy. So actually, you can, after you finish your studies, there is an option to convert your study permit into a working permit for students who are seeking for work. So it's a work-seeking permit. If I'm not mistaken, this is the way it is called, and it allows you to stay in the country for up to 12 months to look for a job in Italy. Of course, after 12 months, it expires. So you have to see whether you found a job or if you start a new study program. So yeah.
And yeah, it's the same for France. You could apply for a visa that allows you to stay 1 more year in France to look for a job or start a business. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I think that we have answered actually to all the questions that we receive. Yeah, and for example, if students have like any
Yeah.
more questions, they can like send us an email. We also receive actually a recording of this webinar like in the next few days, so you can also rewatch it whenever you want.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
was gonna say that we did have a question on whether they were going to receive a recording of this session. Absolutely, yes, you are going to receive it. Just give it a little time because we have to edit it a little bit just to make sure that you see something, you know, decent. But yeah, absolutely, you will receive it.
Just very quickly, we're also replying or by writing the answer, but for the second year, if you are non-European, you will need, it's true, to apply for a visa to France, to come to France. So when you're in Italy, in the middle, it's actually right now in this period, the students have to apply to the French embassy in Roma and to have this visa. And normally it's quite easy because they already had the visa for Italy. It's more or less the same criteria, so normally it's not a problem. And yeah, so you have to. It's something you have to do, but no problem usually.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just gonna share the contacts again before closing the session. So thank you very much for your time and for your questions. They are very much appreciated. If you have any other questions, you can absolutely go look for your answers on the website, or you can email at susfoods@isara.fr or international.inquiry@unicat.it. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next webinars. Thanks for every participant who spoke today. It was very nice to hear from you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much, and we
Bye.
stay at disposal for any question by email.
Yeah.
Bye bye.